A warm welcome to everyone. How are we doing today? We are back again at GPHS Podcast, and this is a new episode with newer people and newer guests. So firstly, our guest here is Miss Lisa Whitehouse Foskett, and from what I know, I don't know if it's correct or not, but I believe you're the chair of the Brango, and secondly, you're the founder of the charitable foundation for the education of Nepalese children. So would you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yep, sure. Hello, everybody. So just first of all, I'm not the chair of Brango, but our chair of Brango, which is the Britain and Nepal NGO network, is a man called Nick Hinton, but I sit on the main committee of Brango. And I also lead the health working group for the organisation, so we all work very closely together. And then, yes, I founded the charity 21 years ago, it's just myself and my husband Peter. And together we are the charity, and then we fundraise, we have supporters, we have donors who support our children throughout Nepal.
Well, you say that you started 21 years ago, right? Well, how did you eventually start? Like, how did you get into it?
How did I start? So, many years ago, it's a long story, I'll keep it brief. When I was a little girl, I always wanted to come to Kathmandu and to Lhasa in Tibet, and I didn't know where they were, but I knew that I wanted to go. And then 22 years ago, a friend of mine who is Nepali in the UK, I was talking to him and his English wife, and he said to me, I was saying I've always wanted to go to Nepal, and so he said, well, if you're serious, I'll help you plan your trip. So we did, and I closed my business. So my business, I'm a clinician, so I have my own clinic back in the UK. So I closed my business for 6 weeks, and I came to Nepal. And at the time, there were no mobile phones, no photographs, nothing. So I knew that I was looking for a man called Nanda. That's all I knew. And then I got to the airport at Tribhuvan, and I met Nanda, and then he chaperoned me for a few days around Kathmandu, and I met the family. And then the cousin, Kishan, who was a trekking guide, he and I then trekked for a while, a few weeks. And at the time, the Maoist uprising was happening. So where we were going to go, which was Solukhumbu, we didn't, and we went to the Annapurna region. And during this time, we were trekking in Langtang, and I met a boy called Kishore, and he was my first inspiration to start the charity. So when we got to his village, I met him, and I just went for a walk on my own through the village, and he approached me with his friend. And I always remember the words because I hadn't heard any English spoken for many days. And he held out his hand and he said, "Good afternoon, how nice to meet you. My name is Kishore, and you could have knocked me down with a feather." And I was like, wow, okay. And then I went with him to meet his family, spent a few hours with them. And when I was leaving, I sort of said to him, "What is it you want to do when you leave school?" And he said, "I'd like to go to Kathmandu, I'd like to become a teacher and come back to my valley and teach the children." And it was at that moment that I thought, I need to do something. And I realised that education is, I called it the golden key, because education is everything. And so I decided that time that I would do something. And then we carried on and we trekked to Tolong La, down to the valley, and finished the trek. And from there, I went to Lhasa in Tibet, and I met some people that I'm still friends with now, one in particular. And during that time, we stopped at a town called Yancy, and it was very different in so much as we were going up to a Gumpa, and many, many steps up to the Gumpa, and they were lined with tiny children to elderly people, just begging for what you could give them. And it was just heartbreaking. And there was a little boy with his baby sister, and he was just rocking back and forth and just crying with his prayer bowl. And I said, I have to do something. And one of my friends, she said, don't let it get to you. They do it on purpose. And I said, I don't care. I said, a child of that age should not know that pain. So those two were the reason I started the charity. So when I finished my travels, I came back to the UK. I had no idea what I was doing, but I decided that I was going to start an education charity for children of all ages, all backgrounds, were non-political, non-religious. So I started fundraising. I opened a bank account. I've started fundraising. I put the money into the bank account. And then my Nepali friend back in the UK, he advised me. And we then went back to Solukhumbu, to a village called Bitihaka. And there was a school there, but it was in a very, very poor state. So over a few years, we kept raising money until we had enough money, and then block by block we took the buildings down, and then we rebuilt them and gave them a really lovely classroom school. But during that time, in 2015, the earthquakes happened. So everything stopped, obviously. And after the earthquakes, we then had to reapply for permission from the ministry to build the school. So I had a few visits with the ministry and got the permission. So then we recommenced the building programme. And so it's earthquake proof, it's weatherproof. We gave 5 classrooms, office, toilets, and it's still in use. And then we provided new uniforms, stationery, everything they needed. And then we still maintain a connection with the school.
Well, since you've started it from scratch, obviously you were a beginner, how did you slowly build it up? Like, what was the inspiration from your friend, Nepali friend you got? Yeah, but how did you actually start the fundraising? How did it actually work?
So the first fundraising I did, I am not a runner, but I needed to get fit to come to Nepal. So I did some personal training, and the personal trainer, when he came to my house, he said, okay, when I come next time, we'll go for a run. And I laughed at him. I said, don't be ridiculous. I said, I can't run. And he went, yeah, you can. And I went, I really can't. It's, but my family who know me, they laugh because I can't walk and talk. If I talk, I stop. But anyway, so he came the next time and he took me and we went for a run, and then he was talking to me the whole time, which was making me talk and breathe and run. And he said, actually, you're quite a good runner. It's, so that was a surprise to me. And so, because one of my friends was from New York, I entered the New York Marathon when I came home from Nepal. And got in. It was in a ballot, and I was lucky enough to be chosen in the ballot. So I went to New York in the November, and I did the New York Marathon and completed it. And that was my first fundraising. And for that I raised £2,500. And then it carried on. So everything I could do to raise money, from cake bakes, selling cakes, to dinner and dances, giving talks to organisations, every which way I could think, then that's what we did. And when I came back, I knew my husband before I came to Nepal, but we were just sati, we were friends. And then we became close. And so he joined me, and we officially formed the charity. And also, to raise money, I work with small producers here in Nepal. So everybody that we work with has to have a good backstory, good ethics, good working practice, fair wage. We work with small women's organisations. And so then I was buying products from Nepal, sending them back home, and then I would sell those as well. But that has grown over the years. And so we would have events, 2-3 day events, which would be our main fundraisers. But then sadly COVID happened. So then all fundraising stopped for everybody, of course. So I was thinking, how could I maintain for the future to future-proof the fundraising? So I researched website designers, and we started an online business. So again, all the suppliers that I've been working with, they come onto the online business. So we sell the products there, and then plus other producers from anywhere now. Doesn't have to be from Nepal, but the same message: good practice, fair trade, and so on. And so that's very slowly building, but from the profits then we will donate back to the charity. So that's just a long-term way of securing the future, hopefully, of what we're doing.
Yeah, well, it looks like you learned a lot of hobbies on the way. After you did all the fundraising, and then COVID happened, obviously, and the online businesses started. After that, you thought for the future, like for the new comings and how to save it, right? So what would you tell the younger generations to do when they think about saving others, or just basically having a stable future for themselves?
So I always believe that anybody, if you have an aspiration and the commitment, that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. And if anyone had told me years ago what I'd be doing now, I would never have believed them. But the first time I came to Nepal, it was like my destiny. It was like, this is where I'm meant to be. And I never thought I would start a children's charity, but here I am, 21 years later. So aspiration, commitment, hard work, dedication, all of those things is so important. And engaging with other people, because you can't do it on your own. So if there's anything that you're particularly interested in, then for me, I just talk and talk to other people, and just try and engage information, encouragement, and just to have people come along with you on that journey. It won't always work. There'll be letdowns and disappointments and frustrations, but that's part of it. Nothing's ever easy. So I think, whether you're at school, and you're coming through the years at school, or whether you're in the working environment, or just if you have a dream, there's a saying, and I can never remember it correctly, but if you reach for the stars, the land will come to you, the ground will come to you. So, and the pathway isn't always as you think it's going to be. So be open and be flexible as well. Don't be rigid. But if you set your heart and you believe strongly enough, then you'll do it.
Well, we can learn that even as a student myself, I sometimes wonder, like, am I doing this correct? But actually, we never really know, do we?
We don't.
Life turns in its unexpected ways. So, like, and you yourself, you never expected that you'd be in this position now, 21 years ago.
Absolutely.
And basically, since you first came to Nepal and over the time till today, what changes have you seen, like just from your perspective? Have we developed a little bit, or just your experience?
Yeah, no. So many changes, and I think for me, the most obvious and significant change, I think, is technology. Because as I mentioned, when I first came to Nepal, there were no mobile phones, there were no cameras. One of the things I always remember, and it was quite significant, was our school in Solukhumbu. We partnered with other schools in the UK. And the partner school sent pictures, photographs of themselves, and asked that the children send pictures back. But what we never realised was those children didn't know what they looked like. Because they didn't have photos, they didn't have the cameras, they didn't have the phones. So what they drew were these amazing, like, modern works of art, because all they could imagine, they just imagined what they looked like. They didn't know. So the difference now is, you have the world in your hand in that. That's the biggest difference. And there are many positives and many negatives at the same time. So I think for me, technology and the rapidness of the technology, the way Nepal has embraced it, is incredible. Of course, the infrastructure, especially in the rural areas. So I can only speak for Solukhumbu, but the road, before, when I first started coming here, it could take 17, 19, 20 hours to reach Solu. And it was, there were no made roads, it was all off-roading. And now it's maybe 9 hours. So that's the huge difference. And with technology, you have for me, there's the negative in so much as children, people, adults, we are always on the phone, we're always here. So the negative is isolation and mental health issues, physical issues, fitness and so on. People, again, in the rural areas particularly, they don't walk anymore, or rarely, they have the motorbike, the scooter, the vehicle. So the health impact, so from my professional point of view, the health impacts that will have on the people and generations to come. And then in Kathmandu, before, there weren't all the fast food outlets, there weren't, there was nothing, it was dalbat, and that was fine. But now you can get anything you want here. But again, the implications of that on the population in terms of health, not necessarily now, but in the years to come. Yeah.
Well, since you've shared experience, you have been working as the advisor of Golden Peak for quite some years now, and because of your help, we have a very successful school now, and even we are even improving further. So, in the years that you've been working with Golden Peak High School, what are the things that make you feel like, oh, this is really what I did? Like, this is because I decided to help others.
Oh gosh, that's a good question. So in terms of Golden Peak, Golden Peak's a very different school to other schools that I've worked with. And what I like about Golden Peak is it's very progressive, and it embraces other cultures, encourages other nationalities to come in and help and advise, and it learns from that. So for me, that's a positive. And I was very comfortable to send our children here, because I knew the education they would receive would be a very good education, and a much more rounded education rather than just the set curriculum. So I was very comfortable and happy to send our children, and any future children that we support, they'll be sent here. And also, for me, it's really important. Like the staff here are very friendly. The children are so the environment of the school encourages open speech, politeness, courtesy, and inquisitiveness, and that for me is just a win-win every time. So it's always a pleasure to come here, and I learn so much from all of you as well. You know, it's a big learning curve every time I come for me. Do you know, I always say, like with Nepal, it's like an onion, and you peel off a layer and you think, okay, I've got it, good.
Yeah.
It's and you know. And then it's just so confusing, and there are so many other different things that I'm learning the whole time, so I don't think I will ever fully understand, but so I love that I come here, and what I particularly love is that the different ethnic groups within Nepal, that it's a real privilege for me to have met people from different cultures, and that they've taken me as their friend and their family, and I learn, for example, with your principal and his family, the Rai culture, Mirosati, Sherpa, Gurung, Tamang. So, I'm constantly learning the whole time. But you find it's like a melting pot here at school of all those different cultures, and that's what I love.
Well, thank you, first of all. And since you've experienced all this different inclusivity and diversity here, like, how do you feel when you see another person who is also trying to help others, but they just don't know their way? What would you say to them?
So again, it's been a huge learning curve. So particularly through the organisation of Brango, we're an organisation of different NGOs of all sizes. Yes. So from very small NGOs like ours to bigger ones, and it's collaborating, networking, talking, sharing, and that's what Brango is all about. And for me, that's been immensely helpful, as well as friendships. I've met some really lovely people and made some super friends along the way, but they're also supportive as well. So it's a safe environment. You don't, if you don't know something, you don't have to feel silly about it. You can ask the question, and you'll get a good answer from somebody in the organisation. So everyone's very helpful. If somebody doesn't know or is unsure of what to do, then it's helping others, because that's what we're all here to do. It's difficult sometimes. I'm just as guilty of it at the beginning. My charity is my baby, it's my passion. And I was very protective of it. So I understand completely how people feel sometimes. And I was very wary and afraid of asking questions and asking for help, because I didn't want to feel like people would think, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. It's it's just not to feel unnerved and wary. It's help each other, share, because that's what we're all here to do.
Yeah, and in life there's never really I without helping one another. And basically, since we have all these institutions and fundraising programs that you do, and in the past years, all the children that you have supported till now, when you see them, do you feel like, oh, they have done such a great thing, like they have contributed to the society?
Do you know, it's a really good question. So I'm here this time for a particular graduation. So over the years we've had young people come through their education and finish, and now they're working. So they're contributing in all different ways. So we have a nurse, we have people doing regular jobs, we have someone doing IT, and it gives me immense pride and joy to see that they have come through our organisation, and now they're in the workplace, and they're, whatever level they're working at, they're achieving, and they're contributing to society and to their families. But I was here primarily this time for the graduation of one of our students, and he graduated from Kathmandu University as a doctor on Friday. So I was just super proud. It's just, so he calls me Ama, which is a real privilege to me. And to me, he is my son. He is Virachora. And very much so, I feel it very strongly. So Friday, I was just so happy I could be here. All my patients back in the UK, I was saying to them, I might have to reschedule your appointment because I'm going to Nepal. And everyone was, you have to go. So it worked out and I could come. So Friday was a really happy day. So for me, that he's achieved his dream is just, it's immeasurable.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be contributing, he can help his family. In fact, he said to us with his first salary, he bought his father a gift. And I was just like, that's powerful. So it makes it all worthwhile.
And basically, our life can be unexpected. And you yourself, as you said, like all the things. And I'm guessing you have a major in science?
So my degree is a medical degree in podiatric medicine. It's from many years ago.
But now you're just working on the fundraising and your clinic?
I have my clinic, so I still work full-time in clinic. So where I live in the UK, it's southwest England. There's a city called Bath, which is BATH. So it's got a lot of history. It's one of the World Heritage cities. So it was founded on Roman times and then through the years, and it's very famous for its Georgian architecture. So I work in the city there, so I have my own clinic. So I've been in business for 28 years. And so I still run my business, and then I also run the charity. And then I also run the online business. And then I also sit on Brango committee, and then I'm a trustee of another charitable trust as well for Nepal. So it's quite busy.
You are quite busy.
It's very busy.
Yeah. Well, it was really fun talking with you.
It was a pleasure for me. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think our viewers who are still watching are having really fun, and they got a whole lot of information from you, and to believe that life can be unexpected, and you have to keep turning with the waves that it creates.
Indeed, yeah. Grab every opportunity because you don't know how it's going to fall.
Exactly.
And and enjoy it along the way. Have fun. It's be happy. And I think as I've gotten older, just try and achieve your dreams. But the most important thing as well along the way is don't forget family, friends, and good health.
Well, now in order to wrap it up, would you like to say something to the Olympic High School family and our viewers who are still watching?
Oh wow! So, just thank you for inviting me to do this podcast with you today. This is my first ever podcast, so
really?
this is a really lovely experience for me as well. Thank you to the Golden Peak family for always making me so welcome. I'm always very happy to come here, and I always look forward to seeing you all, and I look forward to seeing you again the next time. Thank you.
And I do too. So let's see you back in the next episode, and thank you guys. Bye bye.